Welcome to the Marine Marketing Podcast, where we cover marketing and website topics for the marine industry. While you're listening, subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And now, here's your host, Harry Casimir.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Marine Marketing Podcast, your trusted source for navigating the digital world in the current marine industry. I'm your host, Harry Casimir, CEO of Boat Marketing Pros. You guys know Boat Marketing Pros is a digital marketing agency located in Florida. We help marine businesses take more leads, get more sales, and go to the next level. Today, we have an exceptional team members from our own company parent agency Artilis joining us. So this episode is planning and managing your online presence. And our guest today is Valerie Baker. She is the project manager and account manager at Artilis and Boat Marketing Pros. She helps clients navigate and stay relevant on the web. So today we have the pleasure to have Valerie with us, and she has a lot of insight to share with us, and I cannot wait. So Valerie, I happen to call her Val internally, so a few times you probably hear me say Val. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Harry. I'm excited to be part of this episode of the podcast. I've been with Atlas and BMP for almost 7 years, so I have a lot of digital experience here and excited to give some insight for all of the marine businesses out there.
Valerie is overseeing all clients' digital marketing presence, whether you are a boat dealer, manufacturer, or club. And some of you guys may be listening to this. You already been working with her. Again, thanks, Val, for joining me. We are going to dive right into digital marketing and web presence. How do you stay relevant online from a planning and managing perspective? So this is where we kick off here. So Val, in your role overseeing clients' accounts and managing projects, because you overseeing the team as well, how crucial is a solid online strategy for our clients to succeed?
Yeah, so a digital strategy really can make or break a business. Having a strong digital strategy lets you go from the top to the bottom, and everyone knows exactly what you need to do and how we're going to execute on everything. Without a solid strategy, you're just going to be flapping in the wind and not sure where you're going to go. And weak sail doesn't go very fast.
Good point, and it's very interesting you touch on that. I feel like it's a cliche, but if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And
Yep.
it goes the same way from a marketing perspective. Now, often what we have seen is clients come to us and they don't really have a clear marketing plan to go to market. So they come in,
Hmm.
we just have a few radio spot here or a billboard there, or we have a website that was built in 1800s. So all of that, oftentimes some businesses consider that as a plan to stay relevant. What can you add to why and how should a company go about changing that perception and change the mindset of not having a clear plan to maintain web presence and be competitive?
Yes, the first part really is to have a strong website, something that outlines your services and where you're located, all of the information on how someone can contact you. That's really the first pillar and stepping stone for any good strategy. And then you can get into the digital marketing, whether it be Google PPC or Bing or local SEO. So showing up on Google when someone's looking for you on the map. And then organic social media is typically that next step. creating blog posts as well. So there's a lot of little steps, but starting off with a strong website that has enough content and is updated regularly is really that first pillar.
That's awesome. It's funny that you talk about website as a very key pillar. So let's dive in into a little bit when it comes to website, because website, it's obviously is the storefront of almost any business nowadays. And a few of my videos, I even state that website is probably one of the cheapest, best employee you can have at your company, even better than the owner sometimes, or the president, because they stay up 24/7 and they don't really complain
Hmm.
much, unless of course you don't take care of them, and it's a different take care, right? How do you ensure your website itself, regardless what industry you are in, how do you ensure it is optimized, it's welcome, it's refreshing, and to what extent you optimize it and why it's important?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different pieces there. First looks are always important, so you want to start off with a clean, easy design with a clear call to action at the very top, as well as some eye grabbing something like along those lines to draw the users in. And then you need to highlight your services. So, regardless of what industry you're in, you're going to have some kind of service or some kind of product, and that needs to be front and center. So, whether you're a boat dealer, you want to show some of your inventory, or if you also do repairs, you can highlight your service department, something like that. Just want to make sure that it's all there front and center when someone loads on the website, they know exactly where to go.
That's awesome. And yeah, if I could add to what you said, one of the thing I often seen is a website, if you think of it, it's your business, right? And oftentimes that's the only interaction they will have with you.
Yep.
So you have to make that first impression. When they get to this website, the website got to load fast. You have to present the
Hmm.
information that's relevant to them and get them to what they need. And if,
Exactly.
yeah, so if I could add also one of the things why you want your website to be updated, I have this conversation with a colleague of mine yesterday actually, because your website is optimized. Once it's optimized properly, it's indexed by search engines like Google, Bing, and many other one. But we're gonna stick with Google for now. And Google is in the business to get people to the destination they want to go to. Meaning that if
Exactly.
someone search on Google for best fishing boat or sport boat for Gulf of Mexico, for example, if you are ranking for that specific keyword and Google send that user to that specific keyword, to that specific landing page of yours, and that user bounce back out because the website is too slow or the content is not relevant,
Hmm.
or for whatever reason, Google will slowly start tagging you out. This is why it's so important to optimize your website, not just for the
Yep.
speed, but the content, for the information. So, can you speak to Val in terms of when it comes to some of the key things that search engines look for when you are optimize your website, and the down layer that most end user don't understand, and really for all of us we don't really care, we just need it to work. How does that affect your ranking in Google and long-term standing and search engine result page as all? Can you extend on that a little bit?
Yeah, optimizing your website is, as you said, extremely important. So, speed is one factor that needs to be considered, but also, like you said, content and having a clear direction of where a user is supposed to go when they land on your website is important. So, if they want to contact you, is your contact information easily accessible? Is your phone number in the header? Is there a big contact us button? And as well as adding content to your website regularly. So, adding blogs, or if you do any kind of events, adding those on your website also helps Google realize, hey, this website's not just stagnant, it's actively being worked on, people are updating it, it's a relevant business.
That's awesome. Now, That's very interesting you say that in terms of regularly updating your website is part of the optimization. It's very interesting that shifting gear here a little bit, but in the same line of getting a clear plan and managing your online presence to stay relevant and competitive, looking at social media from that aspect. There's
Hmm.
lots of possibilities and lots of opportunities for almost any marine businesses that take social media serious. They can see a
Yep.
very big uptick both in engagement and possibly even customer loyalty. Can you speak to how the marine business in general can navigate through the water of social media and eventually create a meaningful connection, a truly engaged connection with their audience, with their target market?
Hmm. Yeah, so there's multiple approaches that you can do with social media, but the first and foremost is just posting. A lot of businesses don't start posting because they're afraid, or they're just like, oh, social media is not that important, that kind of stuff. But starting to post, get your name out there, start gaining a little bit of traction, and then actually respond to people when they comment on your posts is a great way to start building that community. Instagram and Facebook are great places to have little mini conversations with people in comment sections, and sometimes that evolves into a direct message or a DM, and then you can continue the conversation there, and then eventually it could turn into a paying customer, someone that actively visits your business or comes in, becomes a club member, for example, something like that. That's happened to us on multiple occasions with some of our clients. So you can create different buckets of things that you yourself are inspired to create. So whether it be a video of you out on the water, or it could be you taking a photo of yourself at an event, something like that, and then post that stuff on social media for 1 month, 3 months, whatever, and see what resonates with your audience the most. You don't want to just create the content that you think that your audience wants. You want to create the content that your audience needs.
Exactly. And one of the things, if I could add a couple of things that I would highly recommend that you do as a business owner, director of marketing manager or coordinator, whatever the position that you have, if it's related to when it comes to social media marketing, you cannot really go wrong. Don't be afraid. There are three things that you need to do. Maybe plan it out a little bit. So have a plan on when you're gonna post and where you're gonna post. So decide which platform you're gonna concentrate on, right? So whether it's Instagram,
Mhm.
Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, focus on those that you can maximize. Again, depending on the audience that you are in, because the audience that you are targeting for a boat dealer, it might be a little bit different than the audience you are targeting for a boat rental place. So those are two different business models,
Exactly.
different segment of market. So you want to understand the consumer behavior for your specific vertical. Once you do that,
Mhm.
then you determine, okay, I will try to post every Monday, Wednesday, maybe Friday. And these are content that, as Valerie said, those content are not necessarily have to be like super fancy content. Just take your phone out, take pictures on the water, take pictures of your team members fixing an engine, working on the yard. So there's a lot of different piece of content you can provide. And actually, if anything, we highly recommend that you don't try to sell your audience right
Mhm.
on your social media itself. Nobody wake up in the morning and say, let me log into Facebook, go buy something. They log in to
Right.
watch how many cat videos in there, and then they maybe end up liking your video enough and eventually come to you. Although Google and auto Meta, Facebook and Instagram, they really push for professional profile and business profile, but you get more bangs for your bucks if you are using your personal profile, which is very interesting and weird. So you want to actually capitalize on content like you can post both on your social media, personal social media, and on the business so you can bring those people on. So to recap, when it comes to social media, one, determine what channels you will submit those information. Two, stick to a schedule. Consistency and frequency is extremely important on social media. And three, and possibly even most importantly, if you do not have the bandwidth, the desire, and the capacity slash resources to do this yourself, find someone to help you. For us
Hmm.
here at Boat Marketing Bros, we help many of our clients where we manage all of the social media aspects, which means that basically the picture you take you don't want to post, you send it to us. We write the caption, we write the content for you. Sometimes we even, depending on where you are, we recruit some of your team members to send us those content. And there are plenty of content we can actually generate ourselves on your behalf because, again, we understand this industry. So I wanted to share that on social media as well. Thank you, Val. If you want to add
Yeah.
anything to that point, Val, just go ahead.
Yeah, not really much else to add. Just make the content that you want to make and not necessarily what you think everyone wants to see from you.
That's awesome. And one last thing I will add, content that you post on social media today as we speak, Google as a search engine not going to find your post on Facebook and present it to the world. That's not going to happen, at least not right now. However, and although this is not something they admit, but I suspect that's something that they looked at as a signal that states to Google, or Google looked at how if you post social media posts on those social media platforms and you're regularly keeping your website fresh, you're regularly providing educational content, whether it's blog posts or even a podcast, maybe videos, all of those are different signals that tell Googles and search engines that you are active and you mean business. And that gives you
Yep.
authority. And authority will become more and more important. Now, with the advance of AI, which we're going to touch base on very quick, I think social media will continue to, your original content, very unique content will continue to dominate and become a bigger piece of your overall marketing strategy. Now, I know we talk about the general planning and managing web presence. We talk about how to optimize your website to ensure it's performed to the max. And we briefly talk about social media, how it play a big role within your overall marketing strategy when it comes to
Hmm.
online. But the bigger piece here, if you think about it, whether you have a website, social media, content, whether it's pictures, text, creating video, creating PR piece, all of that come to one thing is basically creating content. Content is extremely
Yep.
important for almost everything that you do. So Valerie, can you break it down for us and tell us what content you find that's most relevant to specific, especially boating industry? And I know we're talking very broad here. The marine industry has a lot of different verticals, whether it's boat dealers or boat manufacturers, boat rental and clubs, and so forth. So obviously, the different audience will have to pick. But can you tell us like some of the content that you see that's most resonating with some of the target audience? For example, boat dealers and boat clubs and boat manufacturers.
Yeah, so content is really how you speak to your audience. So having a unified voice and having a unified message is really important. So taking that from your brand values or any of the other like high level things and breaking it down into the content that you're putting out every day, whether it be on social media, in blog posts, anything like that. But having a clearly defined voice is going to help users know you as a business and also recognize you from the crowd. So if you're saying the same things that Billy Bob down the road is saying, then there's not really much of a differentiator there. But if you're clear and focused in your message, that content's going to shine through all of the other noise.
Well said. I mean, I agree. It is very different from just throwing content out there versus having a well thought out, resonating message that your target audience will resonate with. For those of you guys that know,
Exactly.
that listen to some of my videos and podcasts before, there are five key components, and when it comes to business, it's almost like the intro and the outro, and then there's the middle piece, which I call the 3 M's. Once you figured out what is it that you want to sell, the next big thing is the 3 M's, which is the first M is the market, which is the target audience. Who are they? What demographic? What's the makeup of that avatar? Some people call it avatar, target audience, ideal customers, but you name it. At the end of the day, is what is the target market that I have? That's the first M. The second M is the message, right? How do you create a message, or how you develop a message that resonate with your target market or your ideal customers? Because the way you speak with a doctor or a lawyer might be a little bit different than how you speak with someone that's doing something completely different. So you have to
Hmm.
understand your customers, and sometimes it's not even that. The way you speak with a customer, maybe a doctor in New York, it might be different how you address a doctor in Miami, because of, again, sometimes it's understanding your market is super crucial. That has nothing to do with, sometimes with race. It has nothing to do with that. It doesn't have to do with race or even demographic, but understanding where that customer come from is what's so critical.
Yep.
And the last piece, which is the last M, is the media medium, which means where do I find my target audience and deliver that message to them. So all of that, when you
Yep.
kind of break it down to content, it's super critical for you to understand how you're gonna craft those content to tell your brand story. Go ahead, Val.
Yep. And that's how that ties right back into digital strategy. So that's part of everything that we do.
That's awesome. Thank you. So I guess let's dive even further in terms of how critical is it. We are shifting gear right now and talking about more and in terms of reputation and reviews, because this is becoming and more relevant, especially for brick and mortar businesses. Most of the search engines, the companies that's in the map business, that is Google, Apple, and you name it, it's becoming so important that you have to be there. So can you
Yep.
break down and tell us a little bit about how do you go about making sure you have a good reputation slash review online, and how do you maintain that?
Yeah. So maintaining your reputation online is mostly reputation management. So you want to make sure that people are leaving reviews. One, that's always the first hurdle that we face with a lot of our clients, is getting that very first review. And then when someone does review, it's responding quickly, thanking them for leaving that review. If it's less than a 4 star, or even like 3.5 star, we reach out to the customer that left that review directly and see how we can make that right. Sometimes you're never going to please everyone, but sometimes a simple, hey, sorry, Jan, we know that you didn't have a very good experience. Is there anything that we can do to help you? And then sometimes that could turn that around. People have updated their reviews after the fact for a higher score. And then sometimes there's nothing you can do, but you can, as a business, respond to those reviews publicly, and people can see that, hey, that could have just been a bad egg, but the business handled it professionally.
And how does one go about managing those reviews? Do you have someone in the team that manage this in-house, or a company, or
Yep.
how does that work?
Yeah, Marketing Pros takes care of a responding to reviews for a lot of our clients. That's one of the services that we offer within the local SEO package that we have. But if you don't have an agency like us to take care of that for you, claiming your Google My Business profile is a big step to actually being able to review or respond to those reviews. And then designate someone to go in once a month, once a week, depending on how frequently you get reviews, to respond. If reviews are sitting there left unresponded for months on end, sometimes years, that doesn't give a very good, credible look to someone that may be searching your business on the map.
That's awesome. And if I could add to that, one of the things that I have seen over and over is the review process, and it seems like most businesses are not baking in and really account for those reviews, how critical they are. And I know Google
Yep.
really pushing this and is becoming super critical for a local business. So what I would highly recommend, if you have not done any reviews, as Val said, the first step I would highly recommend you do is make sure you claim your business profile. It's free, you don't have to pay for it. Just do that, claim it. If you search for your business right now on Google, there is a good chance it is there and it may not be claimed yet. So grab it, and you might have to go through a verification process. And I believe there's plenty of videos that you can find on how to get that going. But make sure you get that done. Claim your business profile. Second thing you want to do, make sure it's been updated. It's because your business profile, claiming it alone is not enough. You actually have to maintain it, update it. So there is something called NAP, which is name, address, and phone number. Those are the basic fundamental things that you want to make sure you have on your business information, and make sure that information is consistent across the board. But within Google itself, it asks you what category of business you belong to. So make sure the business that you are well known for or very relevant for is that business that's the number one categories. You can provide multiple services, but make sure the categories that you select first is the one you want to get ranking or get more client for, or you are well known for. That's very critical. And then once you have that, is making sure, as Valerie mentioned, have a consistent plan in place or someone to ensure that they check your reviews, make sure none of them fall to the crack. Because if you don't check that, then again, you just don't maintain it. If you don't maintain it, Google doesn't really pay attention to you as well. So it's very critical to ensure you maintain your Google business profile to get your reviews going. One last thing I would
Yep.
mention is automated the process. There are softwares out there, not to mention specific one because there are too many of them, but there's plenty of software that you can actually fairly automate that process so that after someone gets service from your company, one of the service managers or sales people can simply go on your CRM, say this person is happy with the service, and that there's an automatic email that drip down that's send an email to that person, say, hey Bob, thank you so much for stopping by, can you please review us? And the system will know whether Bob clicked on that link or not. And until Bob is clicking or or submit a review, that system can automatically send reminders for Bob to come back and give you a review. Actually, they can be email, phone call, silent phone call, voicemail, or text messages. So there's lots of ways to get reviews, and those are very easy hanging fruits, if you may, for you to get
Hmm.
ranking on your local maps, local search engine results. So I thought I would share that tip. Anything else you want to add, Val?
Yep. No, I think you covered it all.
That's perfect. So I cannot believe we almost on the top of half of the hour here. But can you tell us a little bit about both marketing pros, what your role, and how do you assist client in general to with their digital slash online voyage? How do you help them navigate all that online water that's just too much sometimes for some people?
Yeah, it's a vast, vast world out there on in digital marketing world. But at Boat Marketing Pros, I am the account manager and project manager. So I'm on both ends. So I'm front facing with a lot of clients as well as our other account coordinators, helping them come up with strategies for our other clients that I may not directly manage, but it's a full team effort here. Everyone has their hand in all of the projects, as well as making sure that everyone on the production team is doing what they need to. We're strategizing frequently, making sure that the little pieces that you may not know need to happen as a client are getting done. So, to help your business online navigate that water, as Harry said, and make sure that we're helping you get the leads that you need, getting your message out there, getting all of the social media posts out there, everything that needs to get done for your business to really grow and shine on the web is getting done.
Awesome. Thank you, Val. I cannot believe the time flew by. I guess when you're having fun, time flies. So, as we set sail toward the conclusion of this episode, my friend, remember planning and managing your online presence is extremely critical, and it is not some additional work or a must do deal. It is the opportunity that you've been waiting for. I have never seen so many opportunities, although there are challenges obviously in business, and no matter where you are, there will always be challenges. But those challenges oftentimes have opportunity that's come behind them. So if posting, updating your website is a challenge to you, maybe that's where the opportunity is as well. So maybe it's time for you to find someone or a marketing agency like us that can help you navigate and go to the next level. So with that, with great insight from Valerie, and thank you so much, Val, for sharing your expertise and share with us how we can plan and navigate this vast water of online marketing stuff. So, is there any last parting word, anything else you want to share with the audience before we conclude here?
No, just that the digital waters are easily navigable when you have someone by your side that knows what they're doing. So thanks, Harry. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Valerie, for sharing your expertise today with us. And to all listeners, thank you so much, guys, for sticking around, listen to us, sharing some tips and posts and how to navigate the water world of digital. And as I always said, if you ever have questions, comments, and you have certain topics you would love for us to cover, feel free to email us at podcast@boatmarketingpros.com. And we have lots of resources as well on our own website, boatmarketingpros.com/resources. We have unlimited information here. All of it is free. Just go ahead and feel free to help yourself. So before we go, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, and you can find us all the places that podcasts are syndicating, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, and all other places. You can also find us on our website, so to see all the past episodes. So thank you so much again for sticking with us. Until next time, your online presence shine brightly through the horizon. Thank you, my friend. Later.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Marine Marketing Podcast. If you have any questions, send them to media@boatmarketingpros.com. For additional resources, visit boatmarketingpros.com/resources.